They bathe you in cedar-scented water and tell you it is an honor. The women who wash your hair use a bone comb worn smooth by 100 heads before yours. They do not meet your eyes. The room around you is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. Glazed bricks the color of deep sky, lamplight on hammered gold, the smell of myrrh so thick it coats the back of your throat. Every surface gleams. There are no windows. The beauty is entirely interior, and some part of you, the part that grew up in the dye workers' quarter with river mud between your toes, understands that this is not a coincidence. Your father's debt was 12 shekels of silver. The temple records it as a donation. There was a ceremony at the gate with flowers, and the neighbors watched from their doorways and said you were the lucky one. The first man comes that same night. He is not what you feared. He has clean hands and a nervous expression, and he speaks the ritual words in the flat accent of a merchant from Nippur who has rehearsed them but does not feel them. You speak your half. You have been taught them in a single afternoon. The silver coin he leaves does not go to you. It goes to the temple, weighed against a small clay tablet, recorded, filed. You lie in the dark afterward and you do not weep. You watch the lamplight move on the ceiling and you make a decision with the cold precision of someone who has just understood the rules of a game they did not choose to enter. If this is the world, you will master it. Mastery is the only door you can see from here. The temple is, among other things, a school. The women called kadishtu learn cuneiform, wedge shapes pressed into wet clay, the written language of grain allocations and silver weights and divine decree. Almost no woman in the lower city can read. Within 2 years, you are keeping temple accounts. Your hand is exact, your totals never err. The head scribe watches you the way a man watches a loaded cart coming down a steep road, with attention and a slight unease. A senior woman named Iltani takes you aside one evening in the courtyard, where the only light is the eternal lamp burning in Ishtar's sanctuary. She tells you the temple promotes women who are useful, but never women who are threatening. She tells you not to let them see how fast you learn. You thank her. You slow down visibly and accelerate in private. You file Iltani's warning in the same interior archive where you keep everything dangerous. What you learn underneath the accounts in the liturgy and the rationed oil, 1 QA per month, 2 gur of barley, exactly triple that for the higher ranks, is that the temple is a financial institution wearing a divine face. It holds farmland along the Euphrates, fishing rights in the southern marshes, wool production records stretching back 3 generations. The goddess owns more than her worshippers. The rituals you perform are not only sacred, they generate revenue that funds an empire of wet clay and grain ledgers, and the silver coin left by the merchant from Nippur is simply the smallest unit of that economy. You are not consecrated, you are capitalized. The Shangu, the high priest who administers the temple's earthly affairs, begins to use you as an intermediary. Your literacy and your ritual role give you access to rooms that neither scribes nor temple women normally enter simultaneously. You are useful ambiguity. In the course of this access, you find something the accounts were not designed to show you. A shadow ledger, older tablets, a private diversion of consecration revenue into accounts held in the Shangu's name. The numbers are not small. You say nothing. You copy nothing. You place the knowledge into your interior archive and you seal it there because you have learned that information held is worth more than information spent. Iltani dies in the fever season 3 days, no ceremony worth noting. Her rank and her cloistered cell pass through the institution's machinery, and the Shangu recommends you for elevation. You are promoted from Kadishtu to Nadatu. The elevation ceremony requires an oath, permanent consecration to the precinct, no marriage, no departure, property held in the goddess's name, and reverting to the temple upon your death. You swear it in a voice that does not shake. You believe you have won. Your new cell is 4 cubits by 6, and it has a window that faces the inner courtyard. You stand at it that first night and breathe air that smells like incense in the Euphrates, and you tell yourself the 12 shekels of silver have finally been repaid. You do not yet understand that the temple keeps compounding interest. Years pass in the rhythm of the precinct, accounting seasons, harvest festivals, the great New Year ceremony when the god statue is carried through the Ishtar gate and the whole city shakes with drums. Under your management, the temple's grain surplus increases by 30%. You negotiate a fishing rights agreement with a guild from the southern marshes that the Shangu takes credit for in the official records. Your name appears on clay tablets throughout the archive. Junior scribes defer to you in the corridors. Then the Shangu comes to you with the falsified farmland accounts. He is not asking, he is informing you of what the tablets will say. A royal official from the palace wants the southern farmland. The yield records need to be adjusted downward to suppress the price. He speaks to you the way he speaks to the cattle inventory. Precisely, without warmth, with total attention to output. You prepare the tablets. You press your seal into the clay. You tell yourself this is politics, that institutions survive through compromise, that the sacred precinct is larger than one dishonest transaction. You have always been very good at this kind of arithmetic. A girl is brought to the temple. Debt family, lower city, dye workers' quarter. Her consecration fee is 12 shekels of silver. The temple records it as a donation. There are flowers at the gate. You are the senior Nadatu who receives her. You speak the sacred words of welcome in the cedar-scented bathing room, and you hear your own voice say things that were said to you in this room by hands that held this same bone comb. She is frightened. She looks at you the way you once looked at Iltani, searching your face for proof that survival is possible, that this place can be learned, that the institution is navigable by someone with enough discipline and enough patience. You give her the comb. You tell her to watch and learn. You cannot tell her what you have learned, because naming it would require naming what you are, and you have not done that yet, not in words, not to yourself. The falsified tablets are discovered by a rival faction within the administration, priests loyal to the Entu, the high priestess, who have been watching the Shangu's financial maneuvering for 2 seasons. An internal audit is ordered. The archive is opened. The tablets are exhumed, and the one detail that stands out in every record is the seal pressed clearly into each one. Your seal. The Shangu presents you to the Entu as the architect of the scheme, a Nadatu, who exceeded her authority and corrupted sacred accounts for personal advancement. His voice is calm. His hands are soft. He has been doing this longer than you have been alive. You stand in front of the Entu, and you feel the full weight of the ledger settle onto your chest like a stone. 12 shekels of silver, decades of compound interest. You finally see the sum. You have one night before the tribunal convenes. You still have archive access. The decree has not yet been sealed. You go in before dawn, lamp in hand, and you pull the original shadow accounts, the Shangu's private diversion records, the ones you found years ago and sealed inside yourself. You press new tablets, his numbers, your seal as witness, dated, precise, sourced. Your hands do not shake. They have not shaken in years. You do not hide the tablets. You do not destroy them. You place them on the Entu's personal document tray before the temple wakes, and then you walk back to your cell and you sit at the window and you watch the Euphrates go silver in the early light. The tribunal convenes. The Entu has read your tablets. She is, above all things, a politician, and what she sees is a ledger in which the Shangu's theft dwarfs the farmland transaction by an order of magnitude. He is the larger threat to her authority. She removes him quietly, efficiently. His private accounts absorb back into the temple treasury. You keep your rank. You keep the cell and the window and the property held in the goddess's name. The Untu frames it as mercy. In the official archive, nothing happened. The institution corrected itself, as it always does, without acknowledgement that anything was broken, without any record of what you did, without your name attached to anything that could be called justice. Weeks later, you pass the girl in the cedar-scented room. She is learning cuneiform. The head scribe has noticed her precision. She looks up when you enter, and her face holds the expression you once turned on Iltani, patient, hungry, searching for a map. You open your mouth and you hear yourself say, "Don't let them see how fast you learn." The words are out before you can stop them, and in the silence that follows you understand, with the same cold clarity that has carried you through every room in this precinct, what Iltani was actually doing when she said those words to you. She was not protecting you from the institution. She was the institution, transmitting the knowledge of how to survive inside it in the one form that guaranteed its continuation. Every mentor, every hand that steadied yours on the stylus, every warning spoken in a darkened courtyard, all of it was the machine teaching you to run itself. And now here you are standing over a girl with a bone comb in your hand, and the machine is speaking through your mouth, and you are the face that will make it legible to her, and she will rise and she will master the rules, and she will become the face that makes it legible to the next one. You spent decades trying to carve your name into something permanent. Your name is on tablets throughout the archive, but the tablets belong to the temple. When you die, your property reverts. Your name will remain in the record, cataloged between grain yields and silver shekel weights, and it will not mean what you needed it to mean. You did not escape your father's debt. You paid it forward in a currency no one ever names directly into an account that never closes. The lamp in Ishtar's sanctuary burns without interruption, as it has burned for 300 years, as it will burn for 300 more. Sacred prostitution in ancient Mesopotamia is documented in cuneiform records spanning centuries, a system where the boundary between divine service and institutional control was, by design, never drawn. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.